Hey guys, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I've been very disheartened by what YouTube has done. I'm not allowed to appeal, so when you see this video, it's going to be 2 weeks at least, I guess, past the time of recording. I had my first video on the C-Bug taken down because YouTube has decided that they are going to be not only the arbiters of truth, but the arbiters of what is history, and what is factually and demonstrably tangible. And so my first video calling out a certain news organization for implying that Tucker Carlson was factually incorrect because he dared to suggest that certain Americans were essentially being forced to give up their livelihood in exchange for the vaccine. In other words, they either had to get vaccinated or lose their job. And so I actually tried to appeal that, but I was not able to do so, even though that was my first violation for spreading misinformation, even though there's plenty of misinformation on YouTube. When it comes to a certain C-Bug, they don't want you to have an opinion, especially an opposing opinion. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I have been vaccinated from the C-Bug, fully vaccinated. But I could have concerns, and I can understand why other people would have concerns for a vaccine that has not been officially approved by the FDA, but rather it was given they were given emergency authorization, and those two are not synonymous. But I digress. They have become very Orwellian. They have become the ministers of truth. They have become fascists, in my opinion, when they won't even allow you to cite a mainstream news source, which actually debunks a certain other news source. And not only was this a mainstream news source, but it was a left of center mainstream news source. So it's not like we're talking specifically about Fox News. To be specific, I was citing from the Today Show, which shows that I was accurate and correct. But apparently, because that's contrary to what they want to have on their private forum, which is supposed to be protected by I think it's called Section 230. Anyway, for most of the content of its users, but they've decided to dictate not only truth but history. So apparently, when Tucker Carlson says that people are essentially being forced to get vaccinated or give up their livelihoods and jobs, and he actually cites a demonstrable example of this happening, and not only did he do it, but Fox News and the Today Show that I know of did it as well. YouTube, whether it's the fascist morons at YouTube or whether or not it's just the algorithm, I don't know, but they've decided that I can't say such a thing, even though it happened. According to them, it didn't happen. Even though I can cite my sources and they're mainstream left of center sources, it apparently didn't happen. So I just want to say this: If you're on the left, you should be very afraid of what's going on with social media, where they are clearly censoring one side and progressing their side. That should scare you. If you believe in the marketplace of free ideas, freedom of thought, deciding that you're going to censor an opinion or deciding that a demonstrable fact is not a fact is very Orwellian. It's what George Orwell warned about in his dystopian novel, 1984. The thought police. I'm just trying to come to terms with what's going on in this country. Freedom of speech is dead. Ben Stein, I believe, wrote about this. Um, yeah, I think the Constitution is dead. I think freedom of speech is dead. Um, and really and truly, in my opinion, um, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of expression is the biggest inalienable right. It's even bigger, in my opinion, than freedom of religion, because everything that's in reality begins in the mind. And if we are not allowed to express our ideas, express our concerns, give our thoughts, have a dialogue, have debate, without the other side just shutting us down, then how can we expect to defend our other rights, like freedom of religion, freedom to worship, freedom of the press, even when they're saying that the source that I cited that was a mainstream source, the Today Show to be specific, was not a fact. And not only them, but other sources. We can't have freedom of the press. We can't have freedom of assembly, potentially. We can't have the right to bear arms because we can't express those things. We can't debate on the merit of those things. And it's really disheartening. So I'm not going to make any more videos about the sea bug in general. I don't even know if I should say the sea bug, because I may have slipped and actually, said exactly what I'm talking about when I say the sea bug. But you all know anyway. But I digress. This is a sad, sad day for this country. I mean, honestly. I just cannot. I never thought that we'd be in a position that opposing opinions and even facts would not be accepted. Recorded historical facts that we actually have eyewitness testimony, over 160 or so to be frank. I think it was between 130 and 160. And mainstream outlets. And we can't even express that. And YouTube wants to censor me because I criticized another network. It's not a country I want to live in. And I'm not going to pledge my allegiance to a country that's turned its back on its people. If I'm going to stand for the national anthem, it's going to be out of respect for what the country was and for the people who fought for that country. But I can't put my hand over my heart anymore and say what a great and wonderful country this is when we don't even have the freedom to speak without having our dialogue censored, and not even the ability to appeal. I'm not even, it's 2 weeks that I've been suspended, and I'm not even allowed to post content because of, quote, medical misinformation. And yet there's all kinds of false information on YouTube, all kinds of false information on the internet. So it's not about misinformation. It's about opposing their agenda is what it's about. And even when you factually prove them wrong, according to them, it's not factual. It didn't happen. So I don't know if, I know that the Biden administration wants to work with platforms to remove misinformation, but so I don't know if it's just him. I don't know if they're just kissing China's butt. It's probably both. But it is pretty pathetic that I can't even cite YouTube, a mainstream left of center source, the Today Show, in context to prove another network wrong or misleading without getting taken down for spreading so-called misinformation. I can't do it. I cannot. I don't care who this offends. I cannot be a patriot in a country that's not going to allow its citizens to express themselves equally. I don't care if it's a private platform. Their rules are arbitrary. Their rules are fascist. They know that this is the marketplace of ideas, that information on YouTube, on social media, spreads faster, and gives the user a much bigger advantage at getting out information and dialogue than other forms of spreading dialogue. They know that the internet is a lot faster than the newspaper. They know that the internet is a lot faster than an opinion piece. They know this, and they're using it to their advantage. Excuse me. So, no, I can't. I can't be a patriot of a country that does not believe in freedom. I'm sorry. And I think that the only way that we're going to get this country back is to totally recreate it. And there's only one way to do that. Aside from a major revival, and I don't see it happening. So, you know, don't tread on me. Don't tread on me, in my opinion, is a joke, because a lot of people, they say it, but they don't demonstrate it. I've tried everything within my power to fight the bigotry and the fascism that's going on from the left. And one person is not going to make a difference. But the broadcast from the network that I had the audacity to criticize was a major network, and it was broadcasted at night on July the 16th. $2021, and I'm not able to post for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because I had an opinion based on factual information. That's fascist. I'm sorry. And fascism is not on the right, is it? It is on the left. Hitler was a member of the Nationalist Socialist Party. And if you read their manifesto, there's far more things that are left of center than right of center. We're not the ones on the right. We're not the ones censoring speech. We're not the ones burning the books. We are the ones who stood for the civil rights movement. We are the ones who freed the slaves. It wasn't the Democrats. It wasn't people on the left. And that's a lie to believe that. That's all I have to say. That's going to be the last video I make about the sea bug. Because I can't fight it. There's nothing. How am I going to fight it? What's little old me going to do? Unless Congress makes it to where YouTube can't do it, it's not going to happen. And all these congressmen who are just blowing smoke, acting like they're really upset by it, they're just trying to win another election so that they can go back to the status quo. They're really not interested in, most of them, I would say 99% of them, 98, 99% of them, they are not interested in little peons like me. I'm going to keep this video under 20 minutes. But they're not interested. They're not interested in people like me. They're not interested in changing the status quo. They're only interested in money. They're only interested in votes, in power, in prestige. So they talk a good talk when it comes time for election. But when election's over, they go back to the same old status quo. And I'm not going to celebrate that. Sorry. I used to be a patriot, but I can't be anymore. Not going to celebrate that. I'm not going to celebrate a country that turns its back on its people. What's happening now is exactly the way things were before Nazi Germany came to power. If you look at the Reichstag fire, if you look at that, you see that that's essentially what happened. They manufactured and exploited a crisis to gain power, and this is where we're at. And the people who want to suppress your right to speak, they're the ones who want to take your freedoms away. They're the ones who want to dictate. And that's all I have to say. I'll possibly do other videos, but it won't be about the sea bug. Y'all have a good one.